Amber spends 30% of her salary on transport every month. Manan, you're correct. When her salary increase, it's not 1956. 1956, I think it's a careless mistake, Matthew. Your answer is very close. When her salary increased by 30% this month, she spent $135 more on transport. What was her new salary after the increment? So, okay, Matthew, you're correct. So Amber spent 30% on transport every month, right? So when it increased, she will still continue to spend 30% on the new salary on transport. Okay, so one way to convert percentage to something easier, in my opinion, to solve is to treat 100% as 100 units. All right, so let's take 100 units as Amber's salary, original salary. You can put 100%. You can. You're not wrong. But this is one way to look at it. So it's easier to digest. Original salary is 100 units. Okay. Transport will be, if 30%, it will be 30 units. Now, her salary increased by 30%. So original is 100 units is her salary. If increased by 30%, her new salary will be 100 units plus another 30 units. So 130 units will be Amber's new salary, the new increased salary. And her expenditure on transport will still be 30% of 130 units. So 30%, 30 of 100 times 130 units. And you get 39 units. So this is a new spending on transport, 39 units. The old spending on transport is 30 units. So there's an increase of 9 units, which is equal to $135. She said she spent $135 more on transport. So 9 units is $135. Naturally, find what's 1 unit. Once you get 1 unit, always read the question one more time, right? To see what the question is asking you. Don't answer the wrong thing. What was her new salary after the increment? So question is asking, what was her new salary? Which is, here, 130 units. So 130 units multiplied by 15. And that's the answer. Okay, so first, Peter donates 10% of his salary to charities every month. His salary increases by 30%. So the way this kind of question is structured is very similar. They will tell you how much they spent on their original salary. Then this is the key statement here. His salary increased by 30% or increased by something. Meaning this statement has an indirect message. The indirect message is the original salary is 100%. Right. If I tell you my salary increased by 30%, in other words, they are telling you there is an original salary that is 100%. Okay? So this is the clue. So the method to approach this kind of question is, instead of using percentage sign, you say the original salary is 100 units. And 10% to charities means 10 units. Now the new salary will be, what's the new salary? How many units? Everybody tell me, how many units is the new salary? New salary will be 100 units increased by 30% to be 100 units plus 30 units. This is the new salary. This is the old salary, right? So new salary is 130 units. Now, his donation is always 10% of his salary, right? So if his salary is 130 units, he has to be donating more, right? So it's 10% of 130 units. So 10% will be 10 over 100 times 130 units. So the donation is now 13 units. Before his salary increase, his donation is 10 units. Now with the salary increase, his donation is 13 units. So there is a increase of 3 units in donation, which equal to $105 because it says here his donation will rise by $105. So 1 unit is $35. Now read the question again. How much does Peter earn each month? Meaning 100 units. No, 130 units. 130 units didn't happen because of the word if. So his salary is 100 units. Got it? Percentage question. So Peter spent 80% of his allowance and saved the rest. So his allowance is 100%. 80% is spent. 20% is saved. Okay? With the same amount of allowance, no change, if he increases his spending by 20%, find the percentage decrease in his savings. Always remember, spending plus savings is equal to allowance. Okay? Now let's do the first one. Now let's make the allowance, instead of 100%, we call it 100 units. Easier to, I find it easier to visualize. 100 units. So Peter's allowance is 100 units. Okay? If Peter's allowance is 100 units, then he will be spending 80 units. Savings will be simply 20 units. 100 minus 80. Okay, this is his savings. Now the question says he increases spending by 20%, but allowance don't change. So the allowance is still 100 units. Spending is now 20%. It's not 80 units anymore, but more by 20%. Okay, so how much will be extra 20% of 80 units? It will be 120% of 80 units, right? 120 over 100 multiplied by 80 units. So 96 units will be his new spending. Any question? This step, any question? If you got a question, please indicate in the chat. If not, I'm going to move on. Okay? This part is important. The new spending will be 80 units times 120%. 120% is 120 over 100. Okay? No question? Good. So this is the new spending. Then the savings will be, notice the allowance doesn't change, so it's 100 units. So 100 units minus the spending, 4 units is the savings. So what's the question? The question is, what's the percentage decrease in the savings? So the savings originally was 20. The decrease will be 16 units. Now, the challenge, the confusing part people have is how to find percentage. To find the percentage, you need to know what's the denominator. 16 over what? 16 over the original. Always, whether increase or decrease, the change over what it was before means the original. What it was before original is 20 units. Okay? The savings, the change of the savings divided by what it was before the change. Listen, the change divided by what it was before the change. In this case, before the change is 20 units. Okay, so 20 units was the original savings. The new savings is 4 units, so there's a change, drop by 16 units. So the change over the original times 100%, and that's the answer, 80%. Got it? If this is very basic, and although it's very basic, a lot of people just get it wrong. Usually they got the wrong denominator. Okay.